Alright, hello. Here I am again. My name's Frank. This is No More Paper, the most famous show about futures on the internet. And all I want to do is build a small community where people can learn how to trade without worrying about dishonest people trying to sell them stuff. What I want is a real, true community along the lines of Nexus Fi. What's the other one? Edge something? The Edge. They're a bit more, which I understand you need money to run a website, so they're a bit more, they have sponsors and things like that, so I'm a little weary of them. But the other day, so I have a journal that I update every week on one of these sites, update with my progress, as a trader, and I couldn't tell what was going on, but somebody replied to my journal and said, a bunch of nice things, and then, hey, I know of this product that could help you, blah, 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 blah. And I couldn't really tell if it was honest or not. Of course, I didn't want to check it out because I would only accept that type of advice from someone that I know already. I don't care how nice you're being. I'm sorry, I'm not, unless I know you well, I'm not going to take any recommendation that you say. And eventually, I got a message from a moderator on the site saying, "Hey, I deleted this comment. And I changed your," because I replied to the guy and just said thank you. That's it. That's all I said. But this moderator deleted the reference to this guy's business, which he didn't say it was his business in the thing, or maybe he did, but that's against site policy and everything. So they got rid of it, and I mean that right there made me want to go to this website a lot more. I feel better about it, even though they do have a couple sponsors, because I get it, but sponsorship should be outright. You shouldn't just. I think that's so dishonest. Especially the amount of companies that are on Reddit that just, their whole thing is to appear like normal people, but they're not. They're working for the company. All right, who cares? Let's go back to markets. As I go live, or 3 minutes ago, geez, I forget already what the news was. PPI, that's it. Producer Price Index. So yesterday we had, I couldn't stream yesterday. Yesterday we had a bunch of government lies, and today probably a bunch of government lies. They're saying producer prices are going down. I don't know. I doubt it. Who in their right mind is buying electronics right now? Who in their right mind is buying anything more than they need to right now? I don't know. I don't trust anything coming out of the government. I don't care who's at the helm. I never trusted it, I never will. There was an interesting comment, I forget what day it was. It was Tuesday or maybe Monday. That said that the common thing, the common scam, if you want to call it that, scheme, whatever, is, the hell was that? Oh, is you call a very high number. Like, let's say consumer price index month over month. So last time it went up half a percentage point in one freaking month. That is insane. So now this month you might say, well, it's only going to go, because the war was over, or, I'm doing hand quotes right now, war over. So they say that they always undersell or oversell the consensus. And then when it comes in better than the consensus, it's immediately seen as positive by the market. Because that's all they look at. Not that the fact that it's still getting worse, it's just not as bad as they thought it was going to be. And it goes the other way too. When things are improving, which, geez, I don't remember the last time that was. Yes, I know it's improving here now, but inflation, regardless of war, even if the Iran thing never happened at all, inflation would still be going up right now because the government continues to print money. And nobody talks about that anymore. Nobody. It's almost like a given. It's just about how much money they're going to print, or the whole narrative right now is that, yeah, we're printing money, but the economy grows faster than we're printing money, so it's fine. But that's a common misconception about that. It's wrong. Well, it's not wrong. It is possible that can happen. But do you really think common people's wages are going to keep up with that? It's a common way to make it appear like you're getting a raise, but you're not. So if inflation goes up 2%, but they say, oh, but the economy grew 3%. So people are going to be like, oh, okay, it's fine, inflation goes up. And you get a pay rise 1.5%, you're still losing. It still sucks. There's no other way about it. It just sucks. I mean, I don't really believe that. Oh, that's Canada. Never mind. I don't know why I even have Canada here. Sometimes there's European events that may have an effect. How do I... So yeah, prices increased despite price of oil going down. Prices still increased, but they're not quite as bad as they thought it would be. So therefore, let's celebrate. All right, enough about the news. Whatever. It's whatever. Let's see earnings. So this morning we're supposed to have ASML before the open. I don't know when before the open. A lot of this information is gate kept, which sucks. It's not organized in a nice way. You got it. All the sites that actually portray that information in a good way, they charge for it. Now you can find it, but you can't find it for a whole list of these companies. Well, let's check the headlines and we'll look at when ASML is posting earnings, as well as BlackRock. TSMC is a big one. That's tomorrow morning. Netflix is a big one tomorrow after close. IBM's historic crash exposes a deeper tech divide. Why is IBM... What happened? I had no idea. I mean, it's just the wrong thing. It's so weird. IBM makes more money than companies that are doing better than them. It's just, whatever. Everything is speculative. It's the way it is. Gotta deal with it. Software and chip stocks are going in a separate way. Okay. Well, glad I didn't buy a bunch of IBM. Nasdaq rises on ASML beat. Okay, so there it is. Jeez. Like I said to myself early this morning, I have a feeling that the grift is going to go harder and longer yet. Despite almost everyone wanting some type of pullback, it's just going to continue. And I mean, IBM is telling. It's very telling that if this, I hate calling it AI, chatbot industry had true value, it would, the way they say it does, because apparently with these chatbots you can write your own software like it's nothing. That would translate to tons of more productivity and profit for these software companies. They would no longer need to have such infrastructure around it. They could create better software quicker, but it's not the truth. Not at all. What we have is a bunch of speculative idiots buying up all the hardware, which then makes it harder for these software companies to make money. Because who's going to buy software if you can't buy hardware? If you don't have a computer, you don't need software. Simple as that. I don't know. I said earlier on an earlier stream that I think a lot of this, maybe not purposeful in the way that you think, but it's kind of a happy accident for the douchebags of the world, the Jensen Huangs, I forget the CEO of Microsoft. The people who they get off on depriving normal people of stuff. It's really strange. It's almost like we're what's that period in European history when monarchs and royals would just, there were several periods of this, I guess, it was in fashion to pick on, to punch down. It was in fashion to to punch down to poorer people rather than appeal to them. But it's a little twisted in this circumstance where they want to take away your rights of ownership to make more money, to grow their monopolies. And it's just it's the natural tendency of a monopoly, of a large company to do this. If you incentivize it, it will be done. You might get one or two people with morals, but they're not going to beat incentive, because there'll be a higher amount of people. It's a higher feeling that humans have to say, I need to worry about my family. As long as I have my billion, I really don't care about the future direction. I can just retire and there I go, generational wealth. There's going to be so much of a higher group that does that. So what government should be doing, and what I think the only thing government should be doing at all, is break up monopolies. But government hasn't done that in a really long time. I think we're coming to an age where once this AI bubble pops, and it's more of an AI bubble, it's a culmination of things. It's disrespect for the consumer over 30 years almost. The unwritten agreement at this point now with the government is, we won't break up your monopolies as long as you continue to make GDP number go up. As long as you give us this perceived growth. When the illusion fails, when the AI bubble pops, you might see a change in that. You might see governments going back to, I hope they go this direction of breaking up monopolies. What I fear is they'll go the direction of nationalization and socialism, which never works and makes things worse always. I would hope that would be impossible in America, but we'll see. Never underestimate the sheer stupidity of others to believe in things. You can show someone 1,000 examples of how socialism failed, and yet they'll say, I will be able to do it better. I know better. Do you really think you were smarter than Karl Marx or Stalin? Think you're better? You think you're smarter than Mao? Well, from what I don't know how smart Mao was, but do you really think you're not? You're absolutely not. Because it ignores something very important about human nature. Humans need an incentive. Nobody's gonna work hard on a day-to-day basis because of some illusion of the better good. People work harder and produce more to improve their station in life. And it's weird because even the people that believe wholeheartedly in communism and socialism are, a lot of them are ambitious people. So it's insane. They can see the ambition in themselves, but then believe in a system that totally wipes out all ambition. Or maybe some of them are smart enough to realize that and think, well, I hope I become one of the few privileged people. You better hope you know what to do at the right times, and that you don't have any secrets, or that your neighbor can tell the party about. When you just look back at in the Soviet Union, the sheer amount of leaders and party officials that thought they were insulated from blame for the party's wrongdoing. I thought that being on the inside meant anything. And their whole families just disappeared. Never even knew what happened to them. Some what happened to them. They were shot in the back of the head. And I think that's what people want. Because there's homeless people. It's insane. All right, let's move to the charts. Let's take a look at VIX. So yesterday we had a similar news release. Well, let me go over this first. The VIX was kind of trending upwards until that news release, which they say the market's forward looking. So the conflict is back on. I think oil's moving up again. Let's check that. Yeah, it's moving up again. So the market should be looking forward to the next PPI, the next news release, and seeing that, oh, well, it's just going to get worse again. I don't know. I hope this is short-lived, and I hope that, well, I hope it has nothing to do with trading. Alright, so VIX is falling again. And so did the dollar. The dollar fell at that news. At this point, I don't know why I never really look at these other ones. Well, this is a daily. I look at these two only. But the euro and the yen, you only have so many charts you can look at. Yields fell right at that news, which again, whatever. Reality has no place in markets. 30-year yields are still elevated, still above 5%. They used to say that the market would never survive yields above 5%. It would never work. Well, see what's happening. Alright, let's take a look at the daily. Let's jump right into the 5-minute. Yep, as you can see, the news yesterday, I had an accidental profit. So I was long up here. Where did I go long? I forget now. I think it might have been down here. Yes, I think it was right in here I went long. After seeing that it was consolidating near this initial balance high. To me, it looked like it was going to shoot up higher, and it did, but after it took a little trip lower. So I got lucky. It's a mediocre trade that turned out well. I should just stick to my shorter term trades until I learn more about longer term rotation, because right now I don't have a good track record with longer term trades. Anyway, yesterday after the news, we had this sharp incline right here, and then kind of consolidation for the rest of the day. Now, I should have known that we would return there, and we did in the overnight, and we're there right now. We'll see what happens at this high. That is interesting. I think if we break that, we're going to make monthly highs today. But we'll see. Because ASML is given a boost, but I think a lot of people might be taking profits. I've said it before, I think a lot of the market is in, a lot of the big players in the markets are in profit taking. Any jump in price results in a lot of them taking profits to exit. We'll see. It might be until late August, September, October, until this bear market actually starts to play out. Heck, it might be 2027, 2028. That's why even now, even though I want the market to be bearish, I usually go long in my shorter term futures trades more often than I go short. Going into the open, we are at a very important area right now. We have tons of resistance above us that has been built. Who knows if we'll get through that. If we do, I could see us shooting all the way to this old value area. That is a value area from, geez, I don't know when. That is way back from one of the day after we made, or 2 days after we made all-time new highs, way back in June, early June. So we'll see. If we head lower, I'm looking at I'd like to say yesterday's opening range high, but I don't know if that will hold us if we head lower. I'm looking more so at yesterday's value area low. Well, we'll see. That's all I have. I'm in observation mode a lot this week because of the amount of news. What day was it? Monday, I think we had a large a couple of big news events that caused too much volatility for me. The market goes through these regimes where it will rotate very clean, and then it goes through these time periods where it's a little hectic. I think hectic can describe Trump's presidency in the markets. Some say that he's profiting off of it. I bet you he is. It sucks. It sets a precedent. To think that others won't do it or haven't done it in the past is foolish. Alright, that's all I got. Good luck. Goodbye.